Very good morning, students. So as you are aware of the new timetable, right? The new timetable has been set. As per that, today, that is Friday, you will have engineering graphics classes. All right. So in the morning session, I will be uploading the videos of the classes that has to be taken on that particular day. So you will have to go through those videos, understand the drawings, how to do it after I explain this. Okay. And then after you complete the videos, if at all you have any doubts on that, okay, you will have to ask me on the same day itself, because the entire day is dedicated for this subject. So every Friday we will have this engineering graphics classes. All right. So what we will do is, from morning I will upload the videos, so till afternoon you can go through those videos. Okay. So let's say, suppose I finish 3 or 4 problems, you will go through those 4 problems, and whatever doubts you have, so you can ask me in the afternoon session. All right. So I'll be definitely available to answer all your doubts. So you can ask me personally if you are hesitating to ask in the Google Classroom. You can also personally text to WhatsApp, or you can call, or you can directly ask in the Google Classroom itself. So whatever doubts is there, we'll clarify that. Okay. And at the same time, at the end of each session, that is each video, what we'll be doing is, I will give you at least one question, one problem, for which you will have to solve that and then submit it back to me on the same day. Okay. Anyways, to complete the sketchbook, to complete the portion, we will give you time. What we can do is, you can submit that in the next week. Whatever problems I am doing overall, you can complete all the problems in the sketchbook and complete it and submit it by the next Friday class, before that, so that there won't be any disturbance in between, and next Friday we can continue with the next set of portions. All right. I thought this is my duty to tell you this first, because we will be following the standard procedure again. So every Friday we will have this class. So morning I will have the videos uploaded, and you can watch these videos, and then in the afternoon session we can have the discussion. All right. Okay. So in today's class I will be doing projection of solids. Okay. So today we will start with the projection of prisms. So already explained the difference between prisms and pyramids. So prisms are the objects which have same base as well as top. So if you in case of pyramids, the difference is that it will have a base, but it doesn't have a top face, right? You have a apex at the top. Generally it will converge at a particular point, what we call it as a top point or the apex. But in the case of prisms, what happens is, whatever base you have, for example you have a square base, you will have a square top also. So we can keep the object keeping it on the base or in the top, because there is no differentiation between top and base. You can keep it upside down also, it will look the same. Unlike pyramids, in pyramids there is a base and you have to keep it on that base only, right? If you invert it, we can make out. But in the case of prisms, even if you keep the object upside down or any side, it doesn't make any difference, it will look the same. Okay, I hope you got the ideas, right? So any box, if you can imagine, any rectangular box or any particular box is resembling a prism. For example, if you see in your home also, cupboards or refrigerator or any particular thing which are generally in a box shape, they are all actually prisms. So again, based on the number of sides on the base, the prisms are named differently, that you know. If it has a square base, we call it as a square based prism. If it is having a pentagon as a base, it's a pentagonal prism. If it has hexagonal as a base, we call it as hexagonal prism, right? So the concept of prism is that the base and the top will be same. Okay, so you will not have any slant edges or slant faces. All the face will be vertical itself here, because they are symmetric. Even if you keep it this way, upside down or straight, it will look the same. So that is what you mean by prism. Okay. So with this brief introduction to prism, we will take the first problem in the question bank. So question bank is already been given to you, right? So you have the question bank. So problem number 1 in the question bank is what we are going to start now. Okay. You can also refer to the solution book, what is already been given to you. All right, so you have the solutions also, but I am doing it as per the question bank that was prepared. So in the question bank we have given you the set of questions. So in that, now I am doing the first question. Okay, question number 1. Okay, so the question is, a square prism 35 mm side of base and 60 mm axis length rests on HP on one of its edges of the base. Draw the projections of the prism when the axis is inclined to HP at 45 degrees and an edge of the base is inclined to VP at 30 degrees. Okay, so when you read this question, you get a brief idea about the problem. It's a square prism, 35 mm side of the base. The base side is 35 mm of the square. Okay, and the axis height is 60 mm. So it's a 60 mm tall, and it is resting on HP on one of the edges of the base. That means it is to be placed in edge condition. Okay, so you know what is edge condition, isn't it? So it will be like this, resting on the edge on HP. So you have to draw the square like this. Okay, then continuing further, draw the projections of the prism when the axis is inclined to HP at 45 degrees. So what is inclined to HP? The axis. So axis is inclined to HP at 45 degrees in the second case, and in the third case, this is again important, read the question properly. The axis is inclined to HP at 45 degrees and an edge of the base is inclined to VP at 30 degrees. So it is not the axis that is inclined at 30 degrees to VP, but the base edge on which it is resting, that base edge should be inclined at 30 degrees to VP. So these are the conditions, 3 conditions. Resting on the edge is the first condition. Axis is inclined to HP is the second condition, and the base edge is inclined to VP at 30 degrees is the third condition. Okay, so let us start the drawing. Okay, so as I told you, resting on the edge, so we have to start with this particular condition. Okay, then we have to give the namings to this. Okay, so in this, the namings is given as P bracket A, Q bracket B, R bracket C, and S bracket D. So can you tell me or think why it is P bracket A or Q bracket B? And the naming is not it's not necessary that you have to give it as P bracket A only. So you can also give it as A bracket A1. Okay, naming is up to you. You can give it as A, A1, B, B1, C, C1, and D, D1, or you can give any other alphabets as it is given here, A, B, C, D, and P, Q, R, S. That doesn't matter. But what is important here is to understand what do you mean by P bracket A and what do you mean by that Q bracket B. So if you remember, I have told you in the introduction itself that a prism has a top face as well as a bottom face. That's what I asked you to imagine, isn't it? Imagine a cupboard, for example, or a refrigerator. Generally, I'm just giving you an example because you're all at home and you would be seeing these things, isn't it? You will see the cupboard, you will see the refrigerator anytime you want. So you can get that imagination in your mind. So if you see a refrigerator, for example, the top will also be a square. The base will also be a square, isn't it? And it has 4 edges, 2 in the front and 2 in the back, right? So now these namings would suggest that P, Q, R, and S are the top portion of that fridge, and A, B, C, D are the bottom 4 faces, the base of the fridge. I hope you understand, right? I'm just giving an example, trying to relate refrigerator with the square prism. Okay, so you have 4. When you see from the top, this is the top view, isn't it? So when you see from the top, what you are actually seeing is P, Q, R, S. That is the top face only, right? You will not be able to see the base of that because you're seeing from the top. So whatever is there in the bottom, that is A, B, C, D, should be put in the bracket. That's why it's P bracket A, Q bracket B, R bracket C, and S bracket D. I hope this is clear, right? And if you remember one more important thing here, while drawing pyramids, I had asked you to join the opposite corners with a thick line, saying that when you see from the top, you can see the slant faces, right? So I had asked you actually to draw a line connecting from P to R and Q to S like this. And I say name this center point as O1, O2. Remember? But do we have to do that in the case of prisms? No, we don't have to do it because we don't have a slant face here. Whatever you see from the top is only the top face, isn't it? Whatever is there are all vertical faces. They are not being seen from the top. But when it is in the case of pyramids, when you see from the top, you will be able to see those slant faces, triangular faces. In this, there is no triangular faces at all. You are only seeing from the top, and what you will be able to see is only the top portion of the prism. So that's why there is a major difference between drawing the top view of the prism and the pyramid. Okay, I want you people to at least take this down. When you are drawing the prism, please don't draw the inner lines darker. Okay, you need not draw that. Even if you draw, it should be very light so that you can identify the center. So it should be projection lines. But when you are drawing pyramid, you have to compulsorily make those dark lines in the top view. Please understand that is how you differentiate between a pyramid and a prism in the top view. Got it? So we have completed the top view. So we have to locate the center now, O1 and O2. As I told you, can very clearly note that the lines which have joined is a projection line. It is not thick line. It is only drawn to identify the axis, center of the axis. Okay, there is no edges here. In the case of pyramid only, you will make O1 to P, O1 to Q, O1 to R and O1 to S darker. In the case of prisms, you will not make it darker. It will be projection line thickness. Alright, so we have finished the top view. So next what we have to do, we have to get the front view. So project it upwards. So axis has to be taken from the center always. I have told you this. From O1, O2 only you have to take the axis height. So the axis height is given as 60 mm. So please observe carefully here. This is the difference in the front view for pyramid and prism. If it was pyramid, you would have joined from the center to the opposite ends. But it's a prism. So what you have to do, you have to project from PA line straight upwards, from QB also straight upwards, like this. Got it? So from here you are not joining like this. If you join it as a triangle here, it becomes pyramid. It's a prism, right? So again I am giving you the same example of your refrigerator. You can please go to the kitchen and see in front of that. Stand in front of that. This is how exactly it will look, isn't it? So you have to project straight upwards till 60 mm. From here also 60 mm. And then join the top portion like this. Alright. So that is over. So next you have to do the namings. So the namings will be identical, isn't it? So you have P dash and S dash in the front. P dash will be on the back side, so it is to be put in the bracket. O1 dash, O2 dash, that's the axis actually. That is nothing, it's not a line, it's only the axis. Next you have R dash bracket, Q dash, and similarly in the base you will have D dash bracket A dash, because D dash is in the front, A dash is in the back side, right? So when you see, you will only see the front portion of that, of the square. So you can only see S and R, P and Q will be on the back side. Similarly in the base, you will be able to see only C and D, B and A will be on the back side. Okay, so this completes the first view. I hope you got the clear difference between pyramid and prism now, how to draw it. So once you know the difference here, then remaining things are all same. Inclination to HP, inclination to VP will follow in a similar way. Okay, but you should know the difference between prisms and pyramids. So every time I repeat this, whenever I explain, I have always repeated this. Please read the question twice. Please do not get confused between prisms and pyramids. Okay, just when you see the question, Just read the question whether it is prism or pyramid. Please fix the drawing in your mind. If it is prism, okay, it is like this. If it is pyramid, it has to be drawn like this. Don't just read the question and jump into drawing directly something. Okay. Alright, so we have finished the first view. Then 45 degrees. What is inclined at 45 degrees? The axis is inclined at 45 degrees. Okay, so here also you can observe how to draw the second view. This is actually easier because in previous case when we were drawing pyramids, I told you that the inclination will be given to the axis. So axis will be somewhere in the center. So you have to keep the edge on the base, isn't it, on the XY line. So you will have to take 90 minus that angle. So here also you can do that, 90 minus that angle, and draw the base on that particular angle. But here it is easier to draw because if you see the sketch properly, if this axis is inclined at 45 degrees, what about this edge? These two edges are parallel, isn't it? So if axis is inclined at 45 degrees, obviously that this line is also inclined at 45 degrees only. So you need not actually calculate what is the base angle and all. So you can, if this is 45 degrees, directly it's resting on the edge, right? So it is resting on the edge B dash C dash. So you can directly keep B dash C dash line and draw 45 degree line at 60 mm length. Isn't it? Because these lines are parallel, they are prisms, they are not pyramids. So if this is 45, angle inclined at 45, this is also 45, this is also 45. So directly you can keep tilting it towards right, keep B dash C dash at 45 degree line and draw. Then similarly, take a line from here, perpendicular 90 degrees to this line, measure the distance, and then from there 60, from here 60, and then join. Okay, so you will be getting like this. Okay, hope it's clear. So in this case, in prisms, when the axis is inclined to certain angle, obviously the other lateral edges also will be inclined to the same angle. Okay, so you can directly draw 45, then from their perpendicular lines 90 degree, and then connect the other 2 points. Okay, do the namings. So namings will be same. So first view and the second view is same here, isn't it? We have just taken the first view, just kept it here and turned it by 45 degrees. So the drawing has to be same. Okay. So now comes the important part, drawing the top view. So while drawing the top view, you will have two things here, one top as well as one base. In case of pyramids, when I was explaining you, it was little easier because there was no top face, there was only base. So I told you have to see from the top and identify whether the base is visible or not visible. Okay, same concept you have to apply here also, but here you will have one top and one base. So two things will be there. So please remember this and please make a note of this. In any prism problem, both the top and bottom will not be visible. It's impossible. And both the top and bottom will also will not be invisible also. So it's impossible to draw. Don't make that mistake. That's what I'm saying. Don't make a mistake of drawing both as visible, top and base, and both as hidden. Both will not happen. One will be visible, one will be hidden. Very simple concept. If the top is visible, base will be hidden. If the base is visible, top will be hidden. Okay. Your job is to identify whether the top is visible or the base is visible. That's all. So in any case, you will not get both the top and base will be visible. Right. Either top has to be visible or base has to be visible. So in this case, we are viewing from the top, isn't it? So when you are seeing from the top, you will be able to see this part. The top face will be visible, whereas the base will not be visible. So it's very simple to identify. You are seeing from the top. Which is in the top? This face. So definitely the top face is visible. The base will be hidden here. Okay. Anyways, we will draw the projection first. Projections has to come. So you got to be very careful now because you will get lot of intersection points. So you need to very accurately place the points. So it's a square prism, so you get 8 lines here. If it's a hexagonal prism, you get 12 lines here. So you have to be careful. Okay. So let us identify all the points. So you will project the line, you will get where is A, where is B, where is C, where is D, where is P, where is Q, where is R, and where is S. So as per the rule, whatever I have told you, what has to be done first? first thing is you have to draw the outermost boundary. That is the rule. Please follow this rule, whatever I am saying. You have to first draw the outermost boundary. So in that case, when you see the projections here, definitely projection of A is here, and B is here, C is here, D is here. Similarly, P is here, Q is here, R is here, S is here. So whatever forms the outermost boundary is this part, isn't it? Whatever I am highlighting now. So first you join the outermost boundary with the dark line, because boundary is always visible like this. Nowhere the boundary will have a hidden line. So very simple concept. First connect the outermost boundary. Boundary is always visible. Rule number 1. Then rule number 2, identify whether the top is visible or the base is visible. So as I have already told you, you are seeing from here, right? From the top. So the top portion is visible. This is visible. This is hidden. So when you are seeing from the top, if this is visible, projection of that will fall here. This becomes the top face, isn't it? This becomes the top face. So top face is visible. So make that as visible. So P, Q, R and S is visible. That's the top face. A, B, C, D is the bottom face. Since part of that is coming in the boundary, so much is visible. Whatever is left out, no, that will be hidden. Got it? A, D is coming on the boundary, so it cannot be hidden. So boundary is already done. Top face is shown, what is visible. So what is left out here? This line, BC line. So this has to be hidden. Then draw the line from the axis, that is O1 and O2, it will intersect over here, and draw that as axis. So this completes the top view. I don't think it's really difficult now. I have explained this problem, these concepts in different problems every time. So you know, first joining the outer boundary is your first thing to do. Second thing is to identify the top or the base, which is visible, either the top or the base. So in this case, the top is visible. So you have made the top completely, PQRS as visible. If the top is visible, I have told you the base is hidden. So you make the base as hidden line and draw the axis. That completes the view. Okay, is it that difficult? Oh, all right. So that portion is done. So we have finished with the two views. Next, what you have to do, we have to take the VP inclination. So it is resting on which edge now? Which edge of the base? In the question it is told, no, it is resting on the edge of the base. So on which edge it is resting? It is resting on B dash C dash edge. If you see the sketch properly, it is resting on this edge. This is the edge on which it is resting, isn't it? It's inclined HP. That means what is touching the XY line is the one on which it is resting. So it is resting on B dash C dash. So B dash C dash is here. B dash C dash line is here. So it is said that that edge on which it is resting is inclined to VP at 30 degrees. So what you have to do, now our job is not to keep O1, O2 line on the 30 degree line, but DC should be on the 30 degree line. So first you will draw a 30 degree line. Okay, so it need not come from the XY line only. So you can see here 30 degree line, because there is no space. You have to get the idea of that also. Okay, just not drawing 30 degree line very close there, because you know when we rotate this object, the major portion of the drawing will come above this 30 degree line. So you should have enough space in the sketchbook to cover the entire object below the XY line. The drawing should not cross the XY line, isn't it? So if you make this let's say if you draw a 30 degree line here and then keep a BC over here, then when you draw that, your diagram will come like this. That should not happen. You should have that idea. It's not that simply you draw something, first you will finish whole drawing and then you realize that the drawing has gone above the XY line, then again erasing that, then again drawing it. So while drawing only, make sure that just see this distance, A to Q, how much is there, whether I will be able to fit that distance within this. At that point, you draw a 30 degree line. Some convenient distance you take and draw, and just make sure that you will be able to draw this entire drawing here. Look for that space. Okay. Now you have to place BC on this 30 degree line. Okay, you have to place BC on the 30-degree line. So drawing this, yes, takes a little time, but there's no other way in the sketchbook. You will have to do it first. But this is easy because when it is prisms, no, most of the things are perpendicular. If you see, isn't it? It's a square in any case. So when it's square, it's always easy to draw because you'll have one of the edge drawn that particular line. The remaining lines are mostly perpendicular to that. Okay? For example, now if I just rotate the object, see, it's directly copied here in this case. But when you're doing it in the sketchbook, so as I've told you, first thing what you will do is you will place the BC line on this 30-degree line. Right? So you will first take this distance BC and you will keep it on the 30-degree line here. That is the first thing you will do. Next what you will do, you will measure the distance here, total distance. And that will be drawn at an angle of 90 degrees. So what you can do is very simple. It is actually BC line you got, right? From B, you just draw a 90-degree line. You can take the measurement later. So just draw a 90-degree line here. Draw the 90-degree line here. Okay, very thin lines first. Then you can take the distance. You can definitely measure the distance from B to P. What is the distance from B to P? Just point it there. B to Q, what is the distance? Just place it over there. B to A, what is the distance? You can place it over there. Similarly, on the other side, you have R, S, C and D. So that's all. Isn't it? So comparatively, I would suggest that this part would be easier to draw when compared with prisms. Right? Because you have... compared with pyramid, sorry. So when you have this BC line, then just draw a perpendicular line, 90-degree line. From this point also draw a perpendicular line. Measure the distance from B to A, C to here, then draw thick line till that particular point. See the distance from B to Q. Okay, from here to here you measure, draw a line. From here to here, what is the distance you measure and draw. And this is again perpendicular, isn't it, to this. This is also perpendicular line. This is also perpendicular line. So that is over. Not so difficult to construct. Okay. Now we have to get the final front view. Right. So while getting the final front view, again you have to see here very carefully because so many lines will come. So I've been repeating this in all my video classes, whatever I've been saying. Don't simply project all the lines at the same time. Take one projection at a time. Even though it takes a little more time than what you think is like simply projecting all the lines looks easier, but you will miss the points. That is what I'm trying to say. In the front view, if you miss, instead of A, you put there for B, or for instead of P, you put it for Q, your entire drawing shape will change. Okay. So what you do is take individually point to point. For example, as it is here, see, projections from A should come, projection from A dash should come, it will meet at a point. Immediately erase the extension lines. Don't keep any extension lines there. Name it as A dash. Projection from D and projection from D will come here. Immediately name that. Then projection from C and projections from B. So all four lines you can join. Okay. So you can see the base is connected first. A, B, C, D you have drawn. And why it is made visible? I have repeatedly told this in the other previous problems also. If the base is downwards or whatever is downwards is visible on the top, right? Okay, so please understand that concept here. Here this portion is down, isn't it? We have ABCD is down, PQRS is on the top. So what should be visible to you? Whatever is on the downside. So ABCD is down means here also A dash, B dash, C dash, D dash is visible. It's very easy actually. It's not that difficult as you people think. So when you see from here, the base is downwards, ABCD is downwards, PQRS is on the top. That's why ABCD should be visible here. Okay. If PQRS was down, then PQRS would have been visible. But in this case, ABCD is downwards. So projections of that will fall here. So this is visible. Okay. Now similarly connect the top. Okay. P, Q, R and S. Alright. So now what you have to do is you have to join the outermost boundary. I'll just skip that one step back. Okay. So you got P, Q, R and S. So what you need to do now is, as per my rule, I told you A to B forms the boundary actually. B to C forms the boundary. then C to R, R to S, S to P, P to A becomes the boundary. Correct? As per the rule what I have told you, boundary will always be visible, isn't it? So what you do, first don't try to join whatever points are there. First try to complete the boundary. So A, B comes on the outer edge, BC comes on the outer edge, C to R comes on the outer edge, R to S is the boundary, S to P is the boundary, P to A is the boundary. Leave out Q and O1 and all those things later. So finish this part. Alright, so you can see here that boundary is there. And again, as per the rule what I told you something, if A to D is visible, if C to D is visible, then the line joining from that is also visible. This line cannot be hidden, right? How? Because base is visible here. If the base is visible, that means A to D is visible, D to C is visible. If these two lines are visible, the line which is going from that line is also visible. Got it? So this line is also visible. So we have almost finished all the visible things. So whatever is left out now are all hidden. Very simple. First find out whatever is visible, complete that. Then you don't have to worry about the other things. After you finish drawing whatever is visible, whatever is left out are hidden. So you can see whatever was left out was P to Q and Q to R has to be joined. So that is hidden. So P to Q is hidden, Q to R is hidden, then the line joining from that point is also hidden. Got it? P to Q is hidden line, Q to R is hidden line, therefore the line from there also has to be hidden. So I have told you, right, in any case it is not possible that this is visible and these two lines are only hidden. It's impossible. Or it is not possible that these two are visible and this becomes only hidden. No. If this is hidden, then this is also hidden. If this is visible, this is also visible. So if you remember these simple rules, you can draw any solids problem. Okay, joining the outer boundary first, identifying what is visible, base or top. If base is visible, top will be hidden. Top is visible, base will be hidden. Simple as that. Okay, so I hope you have understood this particular problem, and I expect you to do this in the sketchbook also. Okay, so we will take the next problem also, which is a similar problem, I think. So in your question bank, there is question number 2, which is also on square prism only. So I will finish that second problem also now. Okay. Okay, sorry. This is your question number 2 on the question bank. Okay, the problem is absolutely similar to that of the first one. So you have to read the question and see what are the changes here. Okay, what is the change here is one major change is that it is resting on one of the corners of the base. In the previous problem, it was resting on one of the edges of the base. In this case, it is resting on the corner of the base. Okay. The same dimensions, square prism, 35 mm side, 60 mm axis length, resting on HP, everything is same, but it is not resting on the edge here, it is resting on the corner. Okay, second change is that inclination to HP is okay, that is given similar. Draw the projection when the prism when the axis is inclined to HP at 40 degrees and inclined to VP at 30 degrees. So what is inclined to VP at 30 degrees here? Is it the base or the axis? It is the axis this time. In the previous problem, what I told you, it was the base edge that was inclined, isn't it? BC, hidden line, that was inclined at 30 degrees. Here you read the question. Draw the projections of the prism when the axis is inclined to HP at 30 degrees and HP at 40 degrees and VP at 30 degrees. That means axis is only inclined to HP at 40 and it is inclined at 30 degrees to VP. Okay, so anyways, when the axis is inclined at 30 degrees to VP is given, do we have to draw the locus here? That is another question that has to be asked, right? So in this case, it is not mentioned that the axis appears to be inclined. It is only said that axis is inclined. That means you have to draw the locus and get the apparent angle beta. Okay, all right. So I will start with the problem now. So all the things are same. Corner condition, axis is inclined. That is the two changes. All right, so we'll just go through the methods again. So it is resting on the corner, so make sure you draw the square like this. This is the corner condition. If you draw the square at the first case, in the first problem, then it will be wrong. So this is corner condition. Axis is inclined at 40 degrees to HP. That is second condition. And the third condition, axis is inclined to VP at 30 degrees. That means no appears to be given. You have to draw the locus. All right. So we will start now. So first case you have to draw it like this. Do the namings. Side is given 35 mm. Do the namings. P, Q, R, S on the top. A, B, C, D on the base. So base things will be written in the bracket. So find the center and name that as O1 and O2, plus it has to be projection line. Please remember that it's not a pyramid, it's a prism. So don't make the inner lines dark. Okay. So now we have to project it upwards. Axis height is given. That is 60 mm. So from the other edges also you will have to draw the lines here. Okay. So there is one more observation that you need to make here. That is, you have a line in the center. The axis line will not be visible. Okay. If you refer to the previous problem, in the center there was no line. Only in the side two lines were there. In the middle you had the axis. Why? Because there were only two edges in the front. Again, going back to the refrigerator concept only, if you go and see the refrigerator, that would have been placed in the edge condition in the room. In 100% it will be kept in the edge condition only, so that you can go and open the door straight away. That means you will have two edges, one on left, one on right. So you can imagine that the refrigerator was kept in the edge condition there. Alright. Now suppose if it was kept in the corner condition, how it has to be? It has to be tilted by 45 degrees and kept, isn't it? As if the door is facing at an angle of 45. So when you turn it in that particular angle and see, you will have one edge in the front plus two more edges you would see, isn't it? From the side, one on the left side and one on the right side. So totally how many edges you will see from the front? You will actually see three edges. So now the object is placed under such condition, where you have one object in the front plus two objects which are viewing from the side. Okay, just imagine. That's very simple. You get that imagination in your mind, you can solve any problem in graphics. Okay, but if you simply listen to it as if I'm telling a story, then it makes no use. Whenever I say something, please make sure that you get that picture in your mind immediately. When I say a fridge, okay, you literally need not go and see there. You have to get that idea. So it was kept in the edge. Now if you imagine that it is being turned and placed at an angle of 45 degrees, you can clearly get the picture in your mind. Okay, there is an edge in the front and two edges on the left and right on the back side. So three lines will be visible. Okay, that is one way of actually understanding it. And there is another way, very simple concept here. You have to see this center line here. Okay, this center line in the top view, and see this is one edge P, this is one edge R, and there is one more edge S in the front, isn't it? So whatever comes in front of the center line here in the top view, those many lines should be there. So for example, here you have P, R and also S. So three things are there in front of this, right? So there has to be three lines. In the previous case, there will be only two edges were there from the center line. If you see where the O1 and O2 is there, in front of that you had only two lines that time. That's why two lines will be visible. In this case you have three lines, therefore three lines has to be visible. Okay, so let's do the namings. So P dash is one of the edge, S dash is one edge, R dash is one edge which is visible, and behind S dash there is one more, that is Q dash, right behind S. That's why it is in the bracket. Similarly, A dash, D dash, bracket, B dash and C dash in the bottom. So that completes the first view. Then we have to go for the next case, second view, that is inclination to HP. The axis is inclined at 40 degrees to HP. So this angle is 40 degrees. So as I told you in the previous problem also, when the axis is inclined, obviously the other two edges will also be inclined to the same line. Okay. So please keep some convenient distance and draw. Make sure that your sketches don't overlap with each other. First view should be as left as possible. Second view should be slightly in the between. Okay. Please make sure you draw the entire sketch in the landscape mode in the book and have sufficient space to complete the entire drawing. Alright. So second view you can draw. I will not go to explain on the construction of this part. I hope you know this, because you will just take C dash R dash line first, then draw 90-degree lines on that and get the distances and get the other lines. So the namings you have to do. Now get the top view. Okay. So again, obviously when you are seeing from the top here, definitely PQRS will be visible, ABCD will be hidden, right? So first identify where is ABCD, where is PQRS. First join the outermost boundary, and then PQRS projections to be made darker, and whatever base will be left out which is not coming in the boundary will be made hidden. Very simple concept now. So first this forms the outermost boundary, as you can see, right? Then the top portion, that is PQRS, that becomes visible. So whatever line is visible, if the base is visible, so line joining from that is visible. So the base part, whatever is left out, I think this part, so from here to here it will be hidden, from here to bottom it will be hidden, and from here to here it will be hidden line. Okay, so that completes the top view. Okay, so I think I've explained to whatever possible level I can. Okay, if you still have not understood this, you can definitely call me and ask. I will definitely explain. But I think whatever explanation, if you have listened it with the concentration, definitely will be able to do this till here. How to get the hidden lines and how to get the visible lines. Okay, let's do the namings. And projection should come from O also. So you get O1 and as well as O2. So this completes the second top view. Next, what we have to do, we have to go for the third view, inclination to VP. So inclined to VP at 30 degrees. But what is inclined to VP? The axis. So when axis is inclined at 30 degrees to VP, we have to check whether there is dimension change. So definitely there will be a change in dimension with the first axis and the second axis. So locus has to be drawn. So you know the procedure for that. First we will check the true length of the axis, that is 60 mm. So you will keep somewhere here and draw 60 mm line on this 30 degree line. Draw a locus at that particular point. Then what you have to do, this apparent length of the axis, O1, O2 length, whatever this length is there, you have to measure it. Obviously it will be lesser than 60 mm. Then keep it at the same point here and cut it on the locus line. You will get the O1, O2 line over here. Okay, so as you can see, true length of the axis, which is 60 mm, is measured. Then a locus line has to be drawn. Okay, then the second O1, O2 in the second top view you have to measure, cut it on the locus line, and then you will get the distance O1, O2 there. Now you have to reproduce the drawing from here to here, which I feel is the difficult part in the sketchbook, not in the software. Okay, so you have to take the distances now correspondingly. O1, O2, A and R, they are all coming on the same line, isn't it? So if you just go through this, you have already got O1, O2 line, which is nothing but this line, O1 and O2. Correct, O1 and O2. So on the same line if you continue, you get R, and on the same line if you continue bottom, you get A. So measure that distance from O1 to R, how much? Extend that line till here. Measure the distance from O2 to A, from O2 measure that till here, and then draw the line. So you get O1, O2, A and R. Then what you have to do, measure the distance from A to B in the compass. So A you would have got here. right? A you would have got here. Cut the arc here. Measure the distance from O2 to B. How much? From O2 you cut that distance, you get A. Similarly on the other side you will get D and complete the base. Okay, then what you can do is, once you get B and once you get D, you know that this axis line O1, O2, B and Q and S and D are parallel to each other. That means they are also at the same angle. So once you get the point D, from there you draw a parallel line here. From here also draw a parallel line here. Whatever beta angle is there, same angle line should be drawn on the other side. And then you can connect it to R here and then get the inner points. Right. P and C is also already got. They all come in the same line actually. You get R, O1, P, C, O2, A. All these points will come on single line only. So your job is to only find out where is B and D, where is Q and S. Then you can immediately join to all the points. Okay. Yeah, takes a little time, I understand, but please draw it properly. Okay, so this is how you get the points. Right, as I mentioned, you have R, O1, P, O2, A on the same line. Find out where is B and D, where is Q and S. Then you can connect all the points. Now you have finished this. Find the angle beta. What is the apparent angle? Now you have to get the top view. So be careful while drawing the top view. The front view. Get the projections. Okay, one by one get it, please. Don't simply extend. This is just an example. You can see here, if you have not trimmed those extension lines there, you can just imagine how many lines it would go here, isn't it? So this is what I always tell you. See, here what is happening is we have trimmed it at that particular point wherever the line is being converging. If this is not done and if you simply project the lines here, you will not know. See, you will just draw lines till here everywhere and you will be in total confusion where exactly the point is. So immediately take B and B as an example. You know that B dash is here. Immediately trim this line. Don't extend it further. Otherwise what will happen? From B you will go and you might connect it to A, which is not the point. This is what I am trying to explain. Okay, so please join it from point to point. First draw A, then B, stop it there, then C, then D. Okay, find 4 points. Similarly go to the top, find P, then Q, then R, then S, then stop it there. Don't simply project. Alright, so now as per the rules whatever I have told, which is on the bottom side, ABCD, isn't it? So the projections of ABCD will be visible here, because this is downwards, this is upwards, so this will be hidden. So first identify whether base is visible or not. So this case is visible. Complete the outermost boundary here, wherever the outermost boundary will come. Complete the base visible line. So visible lines, whatever lines which are connecting are visible will be also visible. So join that and remaining lines has to be hidden. So let's just do that and see. See, we have got all the points already. Okay, so first you will join the outermost boundary. So this is the boundary actually. You can see that, isn't it? So whatever connects to the extreme ends, no point should be left out behind after this point. So this forms the boundary. So that will always be visible in any case. Now our job becomes simple. Once we join the boundary, you have to identify base is visible or top is visible. And as I already explained, here the base is visible, isn't it? ABCD is visible. So where are the projections of ABCD? Here. A and B is already on the boundary. BC is already on the boundary. So connect C to D, D to A. This is visible. Over. That is visible. So as I told you, if AD is visible, if DC is visible, the line connecting from that is also visible. So our visibility portion is over. So now whatever is left out, no, they are all hidden lines. Okay. So P to Q is hidden line. Q to R is hidden line. So when P to Q, Q to R is hidden line, Q to B is also hidden line. Got it? P to Q is a hidden line. Here, Q to R is a hidden line. So Q to B is also hidden line. And this is the axis. So this completes 2 problems. There is problem number 1 and problem number 2 in your question bank. And also there is one more, problem number 3, which I will not do. But if you see the question, it is absolutely same. It is 35 square prism, 35 mm side, 60 mm axis height, resting on one of the corners on HP, inclined to 40 degrees to HP and appears to be inclined to 30 degrees to VP. So same problem, appears to be is given, so still it will become easy for you. Why? Because you don't have to do this locus part, directly you have to do the axis inclination. So question number 1 in the question bank, 2 and 3. 3 questions will be completed here. Okay. So that will complete the square prism part. Alright. So I will stop this video at this point of time. But at the same time, I will also upload another video which will be continuation of this. Okay. That will be on pentagonal prisms. Alright. So I will stop this video at this point. But after this, you will have another video which will have explanation on pentagonal prisms. Alright. Okay.